Okay, let's say I've pulled down my remote rectified map, and then I decide, oh yeah, I need to pull down the Arnett Creek layers. I don't have them. For some reason, they got lost. So here I'll save as, just put them on the desktop again. And now, if you just double click on it, you can drag the folder to the desktop, and that uncompresses it. Okay, so it's there. It's not the one we had before, but it doesn't matter because we kept all of the unique stuff for us in our remote rectified map. So if I close this now, one thing, you go down here and you say, oh, what happened to my my DEM and so forth. So you see this red exclamation point. So this means that it doesn't know where to find those files because they were in another directory that was called Arnett Creek Maps Aerosmith. So if you right click, we can do data, repair data source. So if we then go up to the desktop and click here on Arnett Creek layers and just do the DEM, it'll fix it. And so what that means is it just had to find the new location again. So this is an important lesson if you start getting those red arrows or red exclamation points. Okay, so we've got our unit. So this is a quick lesson in some cartography. So striking dips look pretty good. Contacts are good. They're, if we look, they're line weights. They're the right symbol, right line weight 1. So the faults, let's look at the faults. So the faults approximately, so probably we need to do fault line weights as 2. So let's do fault line weights 2. Okay, so now the Arnett units, this one's going to take a little work to symbolize correctly. So the first thing is, let's put these guys in the right order. So if you just push them, you can get them correctly located. So this will be useful for later for the explanation. Stratigraphic order. And now let's pick the colors. So we're looking at them. So QA is a nice yellow, but let's just choose one here, maybe a nice yucca yellow. And then we'll do, every one of these has no outline, because if we remember, we have the contact. So QC, let's do a darker kind of electron gold maybe, no outline. ME was a blue. No outline. This was a purple. This is the diabase, was kind of a pink. Troy is a green. And Scal was a nice light blue. German Springs is a sort of a bright orange. Volcanic 7. Pioneer was a brown. And this is a gray. Okay, so now we've got a nice looking map with the polygons not having any outlines, and so that way the contacts are looking more correct. So I've got one error over here, which is that, let's look at this. So this polygon right here is supposed to be colluvium, but see how it's an XYM. So that's a good way to check our map. So let's go editor, start editing, units, and then let's pick this guy, and we'll right click, open attribute table, and go find him. And so this is supposed to be QC, enter. And so when you make that change, you could see it automatically updates the pattern. So now we can say, okay, save our edits. Good. Now we can do a few other things. Let's go ahead and label these guys. So Arnett units, let's label the features. But you see now we need to set the right labeling. So labels from unit abbreviation, let's make it 14. There. Not too bad. Maybe they're a little big. Let's try 12. Okay. Now, if we do a light transparency, let's do maybe 25%, is not too bad. But let's put the DRG on. You can sort of see nicely through it. And we have a decent looking map. So now a key thing is if you look down here, we've been sitting on the data view, but if we click on the layout view, basically we have a piece of paper that's our map. And not too bad, we can pan around a little bit to kind of center it. Notice how the map is like a window to the data. And so that when we pan using this, we don't actually move around on the piece of paper, we move in the map. And our little view here, which is called a data frame, is exactly fixed our north arrow in. So insert north arrow. So I like this one. Put it down here. What let's do is let's get the arrow. Let's move the data frame over. So then we can put a few things in. North. Let's put scale bar, insert scale bar. Now you see it says property. So one thing I like to do is switch over to meters for the units. And then you'll see, okay, so there, that's pretty good. 460 meters. Try to get it to a round number like 600. And now let's do the legend or the explanation. So this is a little trickier. So what we want to do is what's on the right is what's included. Let's get rid of the DRG. We have our main things here are the striking dips, contacts, faults, and units. So we can just, I prefer to call this the explanation. And let's just leave this as it is. So we have this fairly extensive explanation, which takes up a lot of room. Let's first go in, and what we can do is if you right-click on the legend and you go to Items, Style, Properties, General, what we don't want to do is we don't want to include the heading, which says type, because it's just extra space. So notice there it says Arnett S&Ds. So that's pretty good. Now let's do the same thing for, let's go to the other ones. So contacts, let's click here, style, properties. Don't show the heading. And then same thing with the faults, style, properties. Don't show the heading. And then we'll stay in here for the units, style, properties. Don't show that. Okay, so it's a little bit tidier. And now we may have to make our map a little smaller because the explanation is so big. So you can just grab it. This thing can be a little smaller. So you have to play around with this. We want to, the map is more important than the explanation. Finally, if we want to put a little text in, let's say we can just click over here. So it says, so we have to find it, and we can say, you know, geologic map of Arnett Creek, Ramon Aerosmith, March 152015. And then let's change the symbols, make it a little bit bigger, 16. Now it's a little wide, maybe. There we go. Put that in there. Maybe double click, make it a little bit bigger. Let's go to 18. There. Can pull this up here. So save. And then you could, the final thing would be to export. You could just print it, but you can also export map. And what you may want to do is you could export as a JPEG or something. Or what I usually do is do a PDF, because that has the most information. So I can say, let's use the date as the file name, beginning,